And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 386. So I hope you guys had a great day. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, I am going to be having a conversation with RCAM. And this is going to be his first appearance on the show. So what's going on, man? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. Definitely look forward to having a good conversation, man.
Yep. And we will start it off here like I do with, pretty much everyone that comes on for their first appearance. So, just in case you make a second or third appearance down the road in the show's, life expectancy, this is already out of the way and it's done. So we're going to start with your origin story and then we'll move on to anything else you want to cover later on. So we'll start here. How was your life growing up? Were you adopted? Did you have both parents? Was it a single parent? Were you raised by your grandparents? Were you raised
Yeah,
by wolves? Who knows, actually?
definitely not wolves. Definitely not wolves. But I grew up kind of in a broken home in a lot of ways. My parents divorced when I was very young. I don't even remember it. And I was raised primarily by my mother for the most part, and she did the best she could. My mom worked really hard, and she was raising 3 wild boys, and she there's only so much you could do, so she did the best she could with what she had. And it's not like my dad wasn't an absent father, but we just didn't see him as much as we would like to. He lived about 2 hours away from us, so we didn't really get to see him as much as we'd like to. And yeah, I was kind of a rebellious teenager. Did not believe in God or anything like that. I was an atheist most of my life. Had kind of a crazy incident happen that kind of made me realize that God was real. So I started, becoming a Christian, and went to school for theology, ministry, and leadership, and that was pretty profound. And that is kind of the nutshell, abridged version of kind of my story. But yeah, anything specific that you wanna know?
So, did you enjoy going to like public school, actually?
I hated public school actually. Yeah, I really hated it.
This shit is
For,
actually garbage. I,
yeah,
I, I look back now and I go, that was pretty much a wasted time. In the,
Yeah, I remember saying that actually a lot in math class. I'd be like, "Why the hell am I here? Why am I doing this? This is pointless. I'm never going to use this in my life." And they could never give me a really good answer, and I feel justified having resented being in math class. But I was a bad student. Not to say that I was stupid or anything. I just hated being told what to do. I hated the expectations I would be at this class at a certain time. I hated the inability of me not having flexibility in my schedule. Um, and that kind of flip-flopped actually when I went to college, because I really loved college actually. And I did well in college. I excelled. I was, hitting honor roll and graduated cum laude. So it's like I progressively became a better student the older I got, but it was just high school, man. I just did not like it, man. It was not my cup of tea.
so you liked college more, and what did you major in college, actually? Or did you
Uh,
just give up halfway through like most people did because they realized that's also a scam to some degree
yeah,
too?
it is a scam, for sure. I originally went, to community college for liberal arts and sciences to just get all those gen ed classes. I really leaned into the classes I found myself enjoying the most were classes like, philosophy and ethics and sociology. Those classes really, struck a chord with me. And then around that time where I was in, getting ready to graduate my community college, I was exploring faith, and ultimately became a Christian, and decided that the route that I wanted to take was to go into ministry. So I ended up going to a 4-year college out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm originally from New York, and I went to a college out there and studied ministry and leadership, to ultimately become a pastor. And I did that for a couple of years too.
Okay. So how was the experience of being a pastor?
It was eye-opening, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It was like, when I first started, I worked at like a fairly large church. It was a mega church, and I was like a kid in Disneyland, man. I was really excited, really happy to be there. But then the longer I was there, it kind of felt like I was in Oz, and a whole bunch of things were happening behind the scenes that showed me kind of the ugly side of ministry. Not to say that there was any issues with God or Jesus, but when you're in ministry, you're working with also flawed people and for flawed people, and my eyes were open up to some of the craziness happening behind the scenes there that really left me with a bad taste in my mouth
Mhm.
for actually working full time in ministry, or at least for somebody else. So I had ultimately parted ways with that church and started my own church for a couple years, and then felt like the Lord was calling me away from New York during COVID. So we packed our bags up and left New York because it was getting real crazy there.
So you were in New York pretty much your entire life,
Yeah,
actually.
pretty much my entire life. Yeah, we moved out to Tulsa. Yeah, me and my
Were
wife.
you in the Bronx, Bronx, Brooklyn,
I,
Manhattan?
I grew up in I was raised in Queens for most of my life, or until
Okay.
I was about 9 actually, and then we got moved upstate.
Mhm.
So probably 2 hours north of Queens, and that's where I spent, most of my childhood was upstate.
So after you guys moved, where did you decide to settle down to next? Because New York is probably, I would imagine it's even worse than California in some areas. Probably has to be.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely getting really bad. Now, where I lived, it wasn't as bad. I didn't live in the city, but I did
Mhm.
live in a place where we would call it, ghetto, because it had ghetto in the nickname. We had a gas station we would call it was called the Crack Mobile, and everybody just knew it by that name. So it
Mhm.
was getting bad, but what really kind of led me out of New York was some of the policies that they had during COVID-19. So crazy story. I got COVID, and I was working at the time in human services, and I was like going in and out of apartments and interact. So it was bound to happen, and I got it. And I did the right thing. I quarantined, kind of had my own little space in the house to keep me away from the rest of the family. Had my own private bathroom, so I was quarantining like I was told. And I get a call from contact tracers. New York had
Mhm.
these contact tracers that were trying to trace the virus and its spread, and they started asking me all sorts of questions. And they asked me, not just my name, but the names of everybody in my household. And I was like, whoa, 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 wait, I'm not sharing that information with you guys.
Mhm.
Like you don't need to know their names. And the woman on the other end of the line starts threatening to call the police on me if I don't give her the names. I'm like, I'm not giving
Mhm.
you the names. Like, I'm not. And she sent the police to my house to get the names of everybody in my household. And that was enough to be like, all right, I'm getting the hell out of here. This
Mhm.
is crazy. This is insane. And I don't want to be here anymore. And some doors opened up for me to move down south. And we ultimately landed in South Carolina and been here for about 4 years now, and we love it.
So you've been there since 2021,
Yep.
like mid 2021,
Yep.
essentially. Okay.
Yep.
So do you like the more quiet life of South Carolina compared to like the big city life that's New York?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really spend that much time in the city, so I mean, I do like it though.
Mhm.
It's not bad. We don't live far from a beach. It's really beautiful where we
You got like
live,
all the
and
conventional stuff, like a Walmart and like a Target and a Costco, stuff like that.
yeah, we got everything, man. It's nice. It's
You guys got
we're living.
Chick-fil-A too? Oh my
Yeah, we got
god.
Chick-fil-A, bro. We got
Does your
Chick-fil-A. We
wife
got
like Chick-fil-A? I know the wives of people's husbands don't be liking
she
Chick-fil-A.
she used to like Chick-fil-A, but now she's like really super crunchy. So she for people that are unfamiliar with that, she's like super health conscious, so she doesn't even eat Chick-fil-A anymore. But I loved me some Chick-fil-A, bro.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Whenever,
like it though.
yeah. I always tell people, hey, on a first date, if you got a Chick-fil-A, less than $30.
Yeah.
I don't get where this mindset ever came from where like on a first date you got to be spending like hundreds of dollars on a girl that might not ever message you back.
Yeah.
No, if you literally spend less than $30 on a girl, yeah, it's $30, but $30 is like nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's really
Yeah.
that's literally nothing. You will not feel bad at all, you know? Like I remember back in the day when I was in like this weird phase where I trusted everybody and I lent a girl like $40 and I was like, man, I felt bad, but I was like, wait, it's $40. And then that person just showed me that they're just a piece of shit. So
Yeah.
I actually get the benefit of that and I'm never gonna talk to the person ever again. So, you
Yeah.
know, man, I swear there's so many things that kids grow up now that they'll just never experience because they were just not in that time period because we just had a different way of growing up, you
Yeah.
know?
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I just turned 31 like about like 2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, roughly the same age. I'm 35. A
Really?
little old. Yeah,
Oh,
a
you're in
little
that
older.
DILF stage. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I unlike many people, I kind of skipped like the dating scene where with like Tinder and all this stuff, and kind of felt like I got the last chopper out of Nam. Meeting my wife. I found a perfectly preserved gem, and yeah, I'm very fortunate.
How did you meet your wife?
We met through a mutual friend through Facebook, basically. And her friend had a thing for me, and I wasn't feeling her, and I saw a picture of my wife on Facebook. I was like, oh, she's really cute. Let me add her, and we started talking, and she started telling me about Jesus. I thought she was crazy at the time. Actually, I thought like, oh man, like she's like really really religious, and I'm not. And this is a little weird, but the more I got to know her, man, the more I fell in love with her, and we started dating, and um
What year was that?
that was 2019. Yeah.
2019? Oh,
Yeah.
so you
Or
have only been
2000,
married
no, 2009, 2009, sorry.
2009. So
2009.
you've been with the same girl for 16 years?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
That means
Yeah.
you met her when you were fucking like what, 23?
19, 19.
19?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's insane, you know?
Yeah.
And hey, I didn't have that kind of lifestyle, but I do admire when people can have those kind of like Cinderella stories from the movies that are supposed to be just Cinderella stories. You meet the one person and you like them so much and you just have that happily ever after. That was the lie that the Disney movies told us. Happily ever after, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
I've always felt like this. Whenever you get to stages in your life, that's just like you could look at it for like an arc of an anime. That's just that first arc. That arc's
Yeah.
over. Yeah, you're on to the second arc. Like, you have kids. I don't know how old they are. They're probably like really young. But after they get through that toddler phase, that's just the first arc of that. Then they're gonna
Yeah.
be teenagers. That
Oh
arc's
yeah.
over. Then they're adults. After that, then they have their own kids. That's another
Yeah.
arc. Everything in life is just a bunch of arcs.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I gotta
And it's,
say though, we are pretty happy. I mean, we've been, together 16 years, married 11 years, and I mean, we are very happy. I mean, we have a pretty good life. I mean, this picture right here is me and my wife. This is like our first date. Like we've been together a very long
oh, now he
time.
just rubs it in because he knows my
Yeah.
wife is a couch. Okay, it's all good.
And yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
have
like
2 daughters.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for the old classics, But so you have two daughters,
Yep.
and they're what, 5, 6 years
I
old,
have a
right?
7-year-old, and I have basically a 3-year-old, and I have a little boy on the way. So he should be
Really?
here, yeah,
Oh, okay.
next month.
And you guys are done after that. You're like, hey,
Lord willing, we are done.
you ever heard of the protection plan, man? Oh my god.
Yeah. Lord willing, man.
So
Part
is there
part
anything, so when the girls were growing up, when they're like babies, like babies, which one was the one that was always keeping you awake? Because like some babies, they're awake for every 2 hours, they cry, they sleep, that's it. What did you have one of them that they were just not trying to go to sleep at all?
definitely my youngest, man. For the first 7 months, she would not sleep, bro. It was
Really?
like yeah,
Oh
it was
god, that
like,
must have been hell.
I don't know if you ever watched Rugrats growing up, but there's
I
like this
did.
episode where like Stu is like, like losing his mind, and he's like stirring this pot, and he's like having like this
Oh, and then
existential
when they had the
crisis.
new baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That was us. That was literally us. For the first 7 months, and then I finally had it. I was like, "You know what? We're doing sleep training, I'm gonna let her cry it out." And, when you're doing this, you gotta keep your wife out of the room because she'll get, like, emotional because they have this, like, instinct to go to the baby. I'm like, "Nope. You're both gonna cry it out. You're not going in there to comfort her. She's gonna learn to self-soothe." And 1 week of that, and she's been sleeping like an angel ever since. So
Yeah, and this is the thing that I think when you're going through that, because I've seen it with a lot of new parents, because I've even helped like with some kids at like daycare, like church or whatever. Also,
yeah,
my close friend's mother runs a daycare. When
yeah,
babies are like that, people gotta understand they're not doing that to like annoy you or do anything malicious. They're babies; they don't know any better. The
yeah,
only way they can communicate is crying because they can't actually talk and tell
yep,
you what's wrong. And to be fair, they don't actually stop doing that until I think they're like, what, fucking maybe, I don't know, 10 years old, honestly. Like, they can't, like, your 7-year-old can communicate with you, but
yep,
she still cries when she doesn't get what she wants. It's just
yeah,
what they do. But at least you have a better understanding of why they're upset. Like, a baby that's like 6 months old, like, when they're crying, it could be anything. It could be maybe because they just, I don't know, had a bad dream. It could be maybe because they didn't eat at a certain time. It could be because they maybe like put their hand on, you have those little thorns that you get from
yep,
like walking. Maybe they
yep.
had their hand on a thorn or a finger on a thorn or something like that. It could be anything.
Yeah, it's
So
it could be definitely frustrating, for sure, especially when you pair that with a lack of sleep, man. It could be a miserable time,
and
but
you want to do that
also
again? You want to do that again
yeah, I
with another
do,
one?
man. I do,
Oh
bro.
God,
I
man.
love kids, bro. Because you know what, like a lot of people do talk about that stage, but it's only a stage, right? It is an arc, and they get out of that, and then you have this person that becomes like your little best friend, man. And then you see them do these incredible things, and it's beautiful, and it's something that I love seeing. I love spending time with both my girls. My older one a little bit more right now because she's inquisitive and she has these eyes that are full of wonder, and she's just amazing. And but she wasn't originally like that. She had that baby phase too, where she was throwing tantrums and screaming. I remember there'd be nights where she wouldn't want to go to sleep, so I'd be like laying next to the crib on the floor holding her hand so she would fall asleep you know
Yeah, like I remember when I would help take care of these other kids because my brother was dating a mom with 3 kids. The girls would go to bed easy. The girls would go to bed easy. It was the boy that I always had a trouble with. 'Cause I was like, hey,
yeah,
you cut off the freaking iPad and they just start screaming. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. Stay up all you want. Because to be fair, when I grew up, we would stay up as long as we wanted to like maybe 11, 12. Then we crash out and then we wake up and go to school the next day. But I realized, I can't do the same thing that my mom had us go through. But the girls were always way easier. I would tell the oldest one, it's bedtime. She would just go to sleep. I was like,
yep,
oh shit. I was like, man, what are parents saying this is hard for? This is easy. The other one, she would go like a little bit after, so but maybe like 40 minutes later, pass out, done. And then the boy would always be he'd always get the hardest time. Oh my god, it was agony. After handling them, I was like, this is not for me. Just not my. I feel like if people go through it, they can see if they like it or not. I would say
yeah,
volunteer at a daycare, see if you enjoy it. Volunteer
yeah,
at your local church when they have the daycare before as the service is going. See if you enjoy it. I can guarantee you, a lot of people are gonna be saying no.
yeah. I do think it's a little different though when it's your kid, like,
It always
you
different.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so much different because you have a different bond with them, and it's just something that it's wholly different, because there are other kids that I'm around them for a second and they get on my nerves, but my kids, man, they could be jumping on my neck, they could be like, and they don't bother me, man, it just is what
We
it
never
is.
had that, dude. You know how like people grew up and they said they watched Adult Swim growing up.
Mhm.
I had that where like yeah, my mom, well, she would do a lot of crazy stuff to us if we got bad grades or came a teacher called or whatever, and we would crash out. I think I would crash out at 12 is where I would just pretty much just be pretty much solid after that.
Yeah.
I would just out. But she always said, you stay up this late, you're gonna have to get up in the morning and go to school. That was the thing. And we'd always wake up 6 o'clock every
Yeah, that's
day and
brutal,
go to
bro.
school. I
I
know.
remember that, bro. I had to get up at 5 in the morning to be at the bus stop at
Right?
5:20.
Yeah.
That was miserable, and when you're a teenager, bro, you're staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning playing video games, and you gotta get up 2 or 3 hours later. It sucked, man. It was the
Oh man,
worst.
the weekends was crazy. We'd be up to like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Crash out, wake up at like 9 a.m. Yeah, you had like Fairly Odd Parents on or SpongeBob or like
Yep.
Danny Phantom and all that stuff. But I will say this: I enjoyed the experience of it because it allowed me to watch shows that have become so integral to my life. I would never have just really discovered this a lot of stuff. I never have a lifestyle that I did. So I am very much fine with the lifestyle I have now. Rich, successful, good looking, charismatic, white, can't go wrong with that, actually. But I will ask you this. So the thing with Christians is there's a lot of stigmas that go with being a Christian.
Mhm.
And I was going to ask you, what's the biggest stigma that Christians have to deal with these days? It's always like the judging one has always been the thing. I know that's always been like pretty much the number one thing. But is there any other big stigmas that Christians have to deal with? There's the judging one, and then there's what I would say. Yeah, the judging one has to be the biggest one, like judging people and all that other stuff. But I want to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, like you're saying, like, we're judgmental of other people?
Well, it's mostly like other people's perspective of Christians is like they're just gonna judge people, and then that pushes people to a certain direction. Or there's the other ones where like people being hypocrites, like I don't know, girls will like go to bars and get their backs blown out in the
Yeah.
weekdays, but then on Sunday they're getting on the knees for Jesus. Man, the irony of that is just insane. But
Yeah, that definitely is hypocritical. I would say, yeah, there's definitely a stigma with. I think judgment is probably the biggest one, and I do think it's like a fundamental misunderstanding of like the Christian faith, because like Christians we're actually supposed to judge, So it's like you've probably heard that verse, or
mhm,
people say like "judge not," you know,
yeah,
and that's it. They stop right there, "judge not." But there's like
mhm,
a whole context to that, where it's
yeah,
talking about judging people rightly. So you don't want to be a hypocrite in your judgment. So it's like if, let's say, we can both agree like lying is wrong. All
yeah.
right. Let's say, I'm judging you, MSK, don't lie, bro. That's bad.
Too
But
late.
meanwhile, I'm also lying. Well, that's me being a hypocrite in my judgment. But if I say,
Mhm,
hey, MSK, I noticed, you're not telling the truth there. Just be honest, man. Some people might perceive that as judgmental. That's discernment. I'm saying, hey, like this is the deal. And as long as I'm not doing the thing that I'm accusing you of doing, that's fine,
mhm,
actually. There's nothing wrong with that. And we should do that, actually. We should see things that are wrong in the world and try to set them right. At least if we really claim to believe what we believe, and I do, so I stand by my convictions. And
mhm.
there'll be people that get mad about it, but I'm like, listen, I believe what I believe. Like, how hypocritical of it would be for me to say I believe that you will be judged by a god for your actions, and then I don't live like I actually believe that. No, I
Right,
do.
right. Yeah.
So I have to live according to that. Now it's the Christians that don't. Those are the ones that you should be concerned about.
And those are the ones that give
Yeah.
the other Christians that do try to live by the word a bad name.
Yeah.
It's that old saying back in the day about the apples. One bad apple can ruin a bunch.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand there's different ways for that analogy to work. Like if there's a bad rotten apple for like cops, that has a much more bigger impact than other things for that analogy, right? So when something gets brought as Christianity and religion in general, if there's one bad apple, then that affects everyone's perception of it. I do feel like with certain things, when you have one bad faith person or one bad actor, then it kind of ruins everything. Like Catholics have been dealing with that forever. But to be fair, the whole priest thing is actually true. But the thing with the whole priest thing is that's just one person that's bad. That doesn't mean every Catholic's bad, but that's not how average people function. Average people group everyone else together in bad situations that have happened and bad things because that's just people just generalize, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, they totally do that. I do think though that too, another thing about like Christian judgment is we really shouldn't be judging like the world. Maybe like, if I'm on like Twitter or something, I publicly recognize something that's a little different. There's not like an individual, I'm addressing a collective. But Christians should primarily actually be judging one another, like
Hmm.
holding each other accountable to the standard that we believe in.
Hmm.
Like we believe in a standard, I'm going to hold you accountable to that standard. You don't believe in the standard, so it's fruitless to try to have me hold you accountable to a standard you don't even recognize. So it's like we're supposed to judge others within the church and
Hmm.
correct the church. That's what
Right.
we're supposed to do.
Because I've not read the Bible in years, but I remember I read it quite a bit. Wasn't it being a Christian, being Christ-like? You're supposed to be
Yep.
kind of like him, right?
Yep.
So it's the whole thing of like, what would Jesus do? I remember there was a pastor. I was at a black church, and the pastor, a good guy. I like him actually. He did say something that stuck with me the entire time of my life. Whenever I heard it back in like 2010, 2011, he said to everyone in the church, and everyone went, He said this word for word. He said, "What would you do if Jesus knocked on your door and you opened it and he was right there in front of you? Would you?" And he's also said after that, "Would you feel good about the life you've been living as a Christian?"
Yeah.
Everyone, no one answered. No one answered because they knew that they didn't represent Jesus and Christianity the best way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's telling too. Is that you can go to church every single Sunday and read the Bible every single day, but and I was sitting there going like, damn, all these people are. And I figured out most of the people were just hypocritical people anyway. I stopped going to that church years ago. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that building even looks like anymore, honestly. But it's just like, God dang, nobody said they would feel good if he knocked on their door and they saw him. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Dude, that room was like 50 people. It was like
Yeah.
packed to the brink. It was like filled, So
Yeah. Because it's
would you,
not
and
even
I'll ask you,
just.
would you feel good if, Jesus knocked on your door and you opened it and he came in and he asked you, have you been representing me good, my son?
Actually, I would feel pretty good, and maybe
Yeah.
that, but you say that though, and people
Hmm.
are like, oh, you're self-righteous. No, I'm not self-righteous. I just, I try my best to walk this thing out. Now it does. Now here's where people will think you're being a hypocrite. All right. So let's
Hmm.
say I believe in, I believe lying is wrong, but I happen to, I don't know, I be in a situation and I accidentally lie. It's just like I get feel pressure, I lie, and I mess up, and I own that. I recognize that. I don't think is actually being a hypocrite because I actually believe in the standard. I just failed to live up to it in that moment.
Hmm.
Now, I think what it means to be a hypocrite is saying I believe in, or holding people to a standard you don't even actually believe in.
Yeah.
That's hypocritical.
Hmm.
I believe in the standard. So it's like if I mess up and somebody calls that on me, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, yeah, I messed up. I missed the mark. And I think that's important. I also think too, you have these Christians that, are, Sunday church Christians, and they live like the rest of the world in the week. During week, we're supposed to be people who actually have faith with action. The Bible says faith without action is dead. Like if we say we have faith, then there has to be actions that accompany that, a lifestyle where people
Hmm.
can see it. They could be like, no, this person is legit. He's the real deal. He's
Yeah.
walking it out.
That's what happened with Charlie Kirk. I mean,
Yeah.
there was an episode, there was someone who was interviewing him, and they asked him, if you were to die, what would something you would like to be remembered for? And he said, my faith.
Yeah.
And even if even people that hated Charlie Kirk, they always could tell you he was a Christian.
Yeah.
He wanted to be remembered by being a man of God, son
Yeah.
of God. I forgot, I don't know the terminology now. I've been in this forever, but he wanted to be remembered for following Jesus and spreading his word. That's what he wanted to be known
Yep.
for. And you look at a lot of these people on like the social media sphere that say they're Christians, but this no action lines up with any of that. Specifically when it comes to like how they let their wives treat them. You know this because you know what I'm going to say here. Timothy, that chapter says women aren't supposed to lead. Men are supposed to lead. Women are supposed to kind of watch. They're supposed to like, what's the old terminology? Like supposed to sit and listen kind of
Yeah.
thing. God wants them to sit and listen. Men are supposed to lead. But then when you see the way some of these guys talk about like their marriage and stuff on social media, which is the dumbest thing you should do anyway. You should never talk about this on social media ever.
Yeah.
But when they do, it's like, dude, that's not right. Like women are not supposed to lead. That's actually a straight up biblical thing in
Yep.
Timothy.
Yeah, it
So
is.
when someone is saying their wife is leading, that's automatically a red flag. It's like,
Yep.
okay, we know who walks you in the relationship.
Yeah, and there is this problem in the church where a lot of men are emasculated. They just are. They aren't biblically masculine men. It's like Jesus. And this is maybe another stigma I don't like. I think everybody perceives Jesus as being like this hippie guy that just loves everybody. Uh, no, actually, he's not just all loving. Sometimes he has pretty harsh words. All right, he calls the people, the Pharisees that are trying to kill him, broods of vipers. That was not a term of endearment. All right, he's not being nice there.
Yeah.
That's not a pleasantry. Him chasing the money changers out of the temple with a whip. He fashioned a whip. He went into this temple, made a whip, and then chased them out with it. Like that is violence, all right? So there's a side of
Well, it even
Jesus that
proves
you
that
just
even
don't hear
Jesus
about.
has his lines. Like,
Yeah.
because in the Bible, when you read these stories, the narrative that you take away and the ideas that you can get from them are pretty much just laid out. Like when I
Yeah.
even read it, people thought it was, I mean, I guess you could say it's a little more complicated when you look at things in more of a broader sense, but just,
Yeah.
I remember that story. It's like, yes, he was overall like pretty much 99.9% a great person, nice person, right? But it even shows and proves with that story that even people like him have their lines.
Yeah.
And you should always uphold those lines based off of what you are espousing to the world. Is that a thing in the Bible? Reaping what you sow?
Yeah.
That's a thing
It
in the Bible,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He put out to the world. He was a good person, right?
Hmm.
And then when he died, people realized how great of a person he was.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, right? It's a pretty simple logic. There's no need to like dive 30 paragraphs deep into it. That's just a very simple way of explaining it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have people that are supposed to act somewhat like him, not doing that and going, people are going, well, why is someone not thinking I'm a Christian? Your actions do not show it. That's
Yeah.
the reasons. It's not hard. And you're supposed to have lines.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Kirk had lines. He wasn't gonna debate Nick Fuentes. He had a line. He
Yeah.
did overall debate almost everyone, but that was a line he drew. I don't
Yeah.
debate this person because I think he's just a moron. That's
Yeah.
fine. You're allowed to have what's that thing? You're allowed to have
Boundaries.
boundaries. Yes, you're allowed to have boundaries and standards for yourself. I'm someone where I have my own boundaries and standards, but it just depends on how far I'm willing to let those extend. But I can do that because I've never claimed to be a religious person, though. When
Yeah.
someone is claiming to be a religious person, that's an entirely different thing. People
Yeah.
are acting like out of the flesh than being in the flesh,
Hmm.
kind of thing. And that's what I'm understanding. If you are saying you're going to be like this, then there's a standard that there is upheld from that, right?
Yeah.
Random other people can do whatever they want because they're just random other people. They didn't
Yeah.
tell you they're religious. They're not saying they're religious. That's different. But you are. So that's a
Hmm.
different thing you must comprehend. Average people don't understand these things because average people are morons.
Yeah.
Has I come to live in this world?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And the people that don't live to the standard, the Bible's just very clear. Jesus calls them lukewarm and says he'll spit them out. So it's like, you're gonna be held accountable one day, one way or another. So it is what it is. It's best if you claim to believe it, believe it. If you don't.
It even says, what's the story where Jesus was dying and he was on the cross and it was the two guys next to him,
Yep.
and then he let the guy who wasn't a Christian into the kingdom of heaven.
Yep. The thief
So
on the cross.
right, and I even told people this because a lot of people think, oh, because I'm a good person, that I'm just gonna go to heaven. It's like that's not how that works. He literally died next to someone who was a bad person by that terminology. Back then, a bad person was just a plain thief,
Hmm.
and he got into the kingdom of God.
Yep.
So being a good person is not the barrier.
There
for
was
that.
something pivotal that happened though,
That's true.
on that way up. So he starts out that when they're going up to the cross, he starts out not actually recognizing Jesus as being the Messiah.
Mhm.
And by the time he gets up there, he realizes, no, this is the Messiah, and he has this moment of repentance where his heart changes. And that's ultimately why I believe Jesus says to him, today you'll be with me in paradise, because he recognized his own shortcoming, and he also recognized, I deserve what's happening to me. Like, he took ownership of the penalty that he was paying for his crime, which tells you that he actually really believed, like, no, I deserve this punishment. And he took ownership of it, which is a sign of repentance, which is why I do think he was ultimately saved. Now, there will be a lot of people that will say a prayer at the end of their life, and not really have that change in their heart. And I hate to say it, but it's probably not going to work out the same way for them.
Yeah. Yeah, because from what I know, it has to be a mind, soul, and a heart thing that
Yeah.
makes it really all come together. Because your mind could believe one thing, but like people say the heart would make you feel another way. Like there's always a lot of conflicts that humans go through. I mean, I think there was a verse in the Bible where he would not like if someone is lukewarm. He'd
Yep.
rather you be either super cold or just super hot. That's it.
Yep.
If you actually ate lukewarm food, that tastes bad.
Yeah.
Just
You know a decent amount of scripture, bro.
I did. I paid attention. I didn't really not really believed all that much, but I did because I like the lessons. I like the lessons and the narratives that was there because it's a lot of stuff that people live vicariously through without subconsciously realizing it.
Yeah.
I always say this, like in the scripture it literally says he'd rather have you be completely cold or super hot. That's just how it works. Because if you're someone that's being a hypocrite, like you said, Well, what good is that? That's just what's the whole saying in the book? It's a serving two can't serve two
Yeah,
gods,
can't
something like
serve
that.
two masters. Yeah.
Masters, yeah, yeah. Hmm. So the other thing I was going to ask you is, you do primarily a lot of your streaming on Rumble, right?
Yes, Rumble. I mean, I stream everywhere. I multi-stream, but my focus is mainly on Rumble.
Oh, so what was the reason for that? Why did you end up choosing Rumble to be the platform you wanted to stream on?
I so I one, I believe in what they do. I really do. They put their money where their mouth is. They actually do believe in free speech. And I've been banned on other platforms, like I was doing pretty good on TikTok, man. I hit like 28,000 followers on TikTok. But there was a period of time on there where I was, posting content regularly, and then like I was gaining followers rapidly, and then I said one wrong thing and it's like they shut the valve off, and basically shadow banned me, for like a year.
Good
And that
lord.
really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, man, I don't want to be in a situation where I just get shut down, and my voice is silenced. And Rumble just made the most sense to be the platform to stream on. And I've actually met some of these guys, and at least the Rumble gaming community in real life, and they're just real good people. Like the community is just real good, man. It's real rich. And they have great customer service too. That's another thing. It's like I got an account banned on X. I hit like 3.5K followers on X.
Hmm.
That account got banned under Musk, and I don't even know what I said. They didn't even give me a reason. So their customer service sucks. Rumbles doesn't. I asked them a question. I emailed them. They get back to me like that, and they resolved my issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good experience through Rumble. Me, it's been a lot of ups and downs. I will say that I do like that they have the aspect to be a alternative just in case anything happens. That's all. That's
Yeah,
good. It's good that the overall principle is like, hey, we believe in this. This is what it is. Up front with how I would guess you could say terms of service
yeah,
is something that they wear on their chest. I do like the fact that if we were all banned from every other place for just, I don't know, saying the wrong thing, and that could be like, who gets to decide that? At
yeah,
least Rumble is an option where like you it's not over.
yeah,
At least you can stream to this. I would say the thing that Rumble needs to work on better, it just the biggest thing before I ever stream on there ever again, because I got really just tired of a lot of BS I was going to, algorithm fixes, right? Like a
yeah,
lot of people are dedicating a lot of content to the platform, a lot of hours, even with viewership not really going up, honestly, from what I can see when I'm still looking at some of these categories. They need to have an algorithm, because that will curate people into getting into different people's lines and
yeah,
following them. Like there's a bunch of people's channels out there on Rumble that aren't botted, and none of that's happening. They just don't get any attention because the platform doesn't really do a good job of driving viewers to it. And that's all
yeah,
the platform needs to do. All the platform needs to do is just drive people to their platforms,
yeah,
so the viewers that they do have driving there can watch people there. If they do not have a good way of driving viewers to the platform, then the people that are making content for it right now are going to suffer. That is just how it's going to be.
yeah,
And like, you have people there, there is people there that aren't botting or doing that stuff. It doesn't matter. That's such a small amount of people. That's not going to be anything sustainable enough for the future. There has to be a way for them to bring in people, and then you just decide to go and follow them. You know,
yeah.
and they
I
need a better algorithm. It's just, that's why I stopped streaming there. It's not because I really hated streaming there, but it was just like, what's the point? It's not getting out to other people. And then you have the whole editors picks thing, and I was like, I don't really like that too much.
Yeah,
It's like I remember the Chris Poffolowski, he compared it to like YouTube trending. It's like, no, it wasn't him. It was someone else compared it to like YouTube trending. I was like, it's not the same thing at all. It's not. They're not even close to the same thing. And I agree with nothing YouTube does at
yeah,
all. YouTube is awful in a lot of things, especially now. It got even worse. But
yeah,
but with YouTube, you would never need to trend on YouTube to grow, because the platform is so big. Your content is going to get seen by someone because of how big it is, right?
yeah,
Rumble doesn't have that, because they need to drive more people to watch the platform, more viewers to watch people on the platform.
yeah.
So I wanted to just get your take on that. What is there anything that you see that Rumble needs to improve on, actually?
Yeah, I definitely think discoverability is definitely, and I think they know that too. Is it definitely something they need to improve on, and I suspect there will be some changes. I think implementing shorts would be a good idea. I don't
Mhm.
mind the editor's pick. It's I maybe have gotten it like 3 times, which is cool. I'm grateful for every opportunity. But yeah, I do think shorts is like the one thing I think they need to roll out, make it more user friendly. I see a lot of people complaining about crashes using Rumble Studio. I think they
Oh yeah.
fixed that for the most part. But I think, maybe making that UI a little bit more user friendly would be better. But it does stand as like the only platform too that actually pays me, like, so you can monetize right away. And then you can apply to be in the creator program pretty much, early on, which, I'm
Mhm.
in, and I enjoy it, because it's not a lot, but it's something, man, and it's like certainly a lot more than what I'm getting in it everywhere else. So I appreciate that. I get 28,000 followers on TikTok. I get, you know, 50, I've only gotten ever $50 total.
I don't even know how to get a follower on TikTok. I only started uploading like short, like how would you what is TikTok's content considered if you upload a video there? What is that even called? Like
It's still like
you're
it's a
uploading a talk?
TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah, TikTok.
yeah. So like I uploaded like some of the YouTube shorts we did here over there because I'm just like it doesn't have to mirror even in order. I'm just gonna upload all the shorts I do over here. It's gonna be uploaded to like my Facebook account as
Yeah.
like real, like as like a reel, or like on TikTok, I upload a TikTok to it. I don't know how people get traction on that platform. I have no clue. I mean, I just started uploading. I deleted the first things that I did because I messed up on the titles of them, but I re-uploaded what 3, 6. I uploaded 9 TikToks today. I'm pretty sure we gotta be going down to the thousands of roads to get these videos up there. But yeah, I don't know how people even get followers on this platform. I have no clue. I'm just gonna upload TikToks that are the shorts that I produce on YouTube and see what they do. But then again, I've told people this too. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not even monetizing. I am not monetized on YouTube. We have the requirements. I'm not monetized. I don't do this for money. So it's one of those things where like Rumble. I will say when I do upload VODs there, they get like somewhat decent views, but if they ever fix the algorithm, I will stream there again. But I need
Cool.
discoverability. I need that fix because wasting my time streaming when no one could possibly ever see it in general because they're not driving viewers over to the platform, just not gonna work for me. But I
Yeah.
will upload the content there because that is a backup. Anything ever happens, I can just upload it there as a backup, and I know I still have it. Losing everything, knowing you didn't put it anywhere, is the worst feeling. Never put your
Yeah.
eggs all in one basket. I will say that.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on it because they're definitely making more and more changes, and I do know that discoverability is something that they've been talking about, so and I'll keep you posted too, man.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you because you were talking about My Hero Academia on Twitter
Yeah.
actually. So people gotta understand this. I love My Hero Academia. I really do. But there are so many choices made with story and villains and everything that I just something I don't like. It's just one of those animes where I watch and I go, could have you done this and this turn out way better? That typical thing that every fan does. If I had did it, it's just I think the creator wanted to quit around the second movie, which people know he did. And I think he kind of stitched up the story in a way where he just kind of got it done rather than kind of getting it done in a way that could have been ultra satisfying. Like I
Yeah.
think the first season is very good. First season is actually, in my opinion, very good. The second season is good in the first half with that tournament. Then it gets to Stain. Then it's like kind of wanders, then it meanders a little bit. The third season is very good. Starts very good. Then it was always like with the later seasons, because season 1 was just really good from start to finish. The
Yeah.
later seasons, like 2, 3, and 4, first parts amazing, great. They hook you in. Second parts always fell off. I have to anime wise, I have to finish watching the rest of it, but manga wise, I was pretty much always caught up. I think the war arc brought a lot of it back to like what season 1 was. It was just good from start to
Yeah.
finish, you know. But I think that's the problem with the show. Like a lot of the character decisions weren't that good. A lot of the characters they chose to focus on weren't that interesting. I just feel like there was a lot of potential there to make this the biggest thing ever. I mean, I'm not doubting its impact. It became big. People like it. It's just I look at it, I go, why wasn't All Might just the main character? Like why wasn't the grown adults the main characters? These guys were way more interesting than the people we got. Like Bakugo is cool initially, but it's like
Yeah.
this is just some discount Vegeta. Why do I care? It's like less interesting too.
Yeah.
Todoroki is a character they could have pivoted to and kind of made him the main character. He doesn't really get anything, like Ida kind of had something there, fell off. Like that was the problem with the show, was like they had good. It wasn't the fact they didn't have good stuff. They had good stuff in it. It just was
Yeah.
all misplaced and not enough attention to the characters that should have got it. Like I think the story, if Deku didn't exist and All Might was just the main character from start to finish, you wouldn't even care if Deku existed, because I
Yeah.
don't think he's that interesting of a main character. But I'll just get your opinion on my hero. Did you overall enjoy it from start to finish, or did you have your ups and downs with it?
I overall enjoyed it. I did not really like how they wrapped up the show. That was probably the most disappointing to me.
Mhm.
I don't, spoilers, if anyone's watching, but I don't really like I don't like how Deku kind of just gives up toward the end, It's like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just feel like he had constantly been getting bailed out, and he started, like everything that he has was ultimately given to him. Now, yeah, he did do like the work to inherit, I guess, All Might's power, but at the end, he basically gives up hero work, and I'm like, Dude, we have examples of people without powers doing hero work. Why didn't you just train or something? I don't like it. Just was a weird decision for me, for somebody that wanted to be a hero his whole life, to kind of like hang up his hat, and then only when his friends bail him out and buy him his Tony Stark suit does he decide to get back in the hero world. I just thought like that didn't make sense to me. It was very
yeah.
weak.
I hated that, because the whole premise of the show is in the first two episodes, where even without powers, he's still
Yeah.
trying to be a hero. He wants to be a hero.
Yeah.
That's his goal. All Might sees that and goes, "Hey, I'm gonna give this guy all for one."
Yeah.
And then you see him with what happens with the show. Like even at season 3, he has to only use kicks because the doctor says his arms are going to be blown off if he uses them a
Yeah.
certain way. Then he can get to use his arms again, but you see like just the evolution he had to go through to make his powers work. Or if I'm going to do this, then this is the impact I'm going to go through. But he knew that going in, and it made it a lot more impactful and suspenseful, because you knew he was going to get a lot of backlash for using those powers, but he didn't care as long as he saved someone. And I just hate that he lost his powers, because the whole point of the initial part of the show is like he was a guy without powers, given powers to do good for them, did good for them, but now he has to lose them. Why did he have to lose them? I've never got that. I
Yeah.
understand like certain shows when characters lose powers is to make a certain storyline and plot, but that was never permanent though. Like
Yeah.
any character I saw lose their powers in the show got them back, because that's like the main reason why you like them is an aspect of their powers. Him losing his powers, well, that's why do I get the idea of his character. I like it's cool. It's like, hey, I want to do good in a world of heroes without powers, but him having them, it would be the equivalent of like if Batman got powers. He could do some
Yeah.
really good stuff with his powers, right?
Yeah. It
Him
makes
losing them
it
just kind of just shits on all that.
all the more frustrating too after you see everything that he endures, with his power, like how hard he had to train to be disciplined with it, that he shattered his arms and all this horrible stuff he endured just for
Yeah,
him to hang it up. I'm like, that makes no sense. And
yeah,
so it kind of was like like taking his character steps back. I also didn't like another thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is they tried to make a lot of these villains sympathetic, and I didn't like that choice with with all of that. Maybe like one of them, but even Shigaraki they're making sympathetic toward the end, and All for One, or
yeah.
like him sympathetic. I'm just like, why are you doing this? Like, can't they just be like
Bad.
evil? Yeah, like evil
Like
in
that's why
what?
people like Stain, because he was like, I didn't like the heroes and what they were doing. I'm just gonna kill him. Okay, even though I
Yeah,
don't really think his villain was overall the greatest, I can see why people like that, because he was one of the few villains in the show that really showed that a person is that when that's that far gone, they're just a bad guy. There was no reforming of Stain, or that guy that was trying to not like sex traffic. We was trying to like human traffic that little girl. Remember that one? It was the season 4, the main villain season 4, who took elimination. Oh my goodness, it was I forget his name.
oh yeah,
Yeah, the guy who was
he
the
got his
mob
hands
guy
cut
who
off, right? Yeah.
yeah, it was the mob guy who captured that little girl and kept her
Chisaki, right?
away.
Chisaki, yeah.
Isiki?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Bad guy, horrible guy.
Yeah.
They didn't try to. They didn't show a backstory trying to redeem that guy. They knew that guy's a piece of shit. You know, that's the problem. Is I think the creator had so many health problems potentially, and he wanted to quit. I think he just kind of. I'll be honest. I think he just did it more or less like obligation than actually care. I'm not saying he didn't love the show. I'm not saying he didn't like what he created, but you know the stories with all these like manga creators where it's like it gets to a point where they're doing all the art, all the interiors, all the editing of the dialogue and all that stuff. That gets to a person week in and
Yeah.
week out doing that 20 plus hours a day. It's
Yeah.
crazy. No days off, essentially 1 day off. That's not enough. Imagine working 100 hours a week. They go, oh, we'll give you 1 day off. That's nothing. That's nothing, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. So I just feel like even with the very last chapter, people have actually read the epilogue chapter, which I did. It's fine. I think that's a better ending than the actual one.
Yeah, I
But
do
it's still
too.
kind of I still don't like that he lost his powers. Like, why
Yeah.
can't he keep his powers though? I just don't get why
Yeah,
can't he
and
have the
he's
thing that he
doing
started the
hero
show
work
with?
anyway, so why not just and yeah, and then, like, the girl with the unicorn horn, I'm like, she can't get her powers back either, she's just done now that the horn's broken, she can't use it ever again? I don't understand.
Yeah,
They don't explain it, at least
yeah.
not that I'm aware of, they don't explain it, so, like, she could just rewind all them back to, like, a place where they had I don't some of it doesn't make sense, and the more I think about it, the more, like, I'm like, "Oh, this is frustrating."
The best My Hero Academia anything for me after like season one and the War Arc season was the first movie. That first movie was really, really good. It was a
Yeah.
very good first movie. The second movie is I don't know how I felt about it. I feel like it didn't capture the same beats for me as the first one. That first movie, just and that's another thing too. Deku never got a chance to fight together side by side with All Might, but he only got a chance to do it in the movie. In a movie, and it's hard. People want to say movies are like non-canon to the anime. That's the problem with movies. People don't really consider them canon to the show. It's like Deku only got a chance to fight alongside All Might in the first movie. The very end of the movie, it's like, wow, man, what are we doing
Yeah.
here? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some things I think they could have changed for sure. I mean, overall though, would I watch it again? Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good anime.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
not like you dislike your time with it, but in the back of your head, you go, "There's a lot of creative decisions here that should have been changed
yeah.
immediately." You know?
My biggest issue though, my biggest issue overall is Deku not getting his powers back and giving up on hero work, and then them just, you know, humanizing these villains, and then Uraka starting like, counseling services to catch them before they become evil. It's like, well, maybe there are just some evil people in the world. They're just evil people.
I feel like it's
Uh,
only a girl thing. Only
yeah,
women do that. Only women will
yeah,
go before he actually murdered like 50 people. I would want to know the man before that. What do you
yeah,
think he would do to you? Just some brain stretching there, you know?
yeah.
Oh my god, man. But wanted to ask you about did you check out the recent drama that surrounded that Turning Point USA organization with like the Amfest thing they do? Because like Charlie Kirk passed away earlier this year, which is crazy. Because I was thinking about it today. It's like he should still kind of be here. I was thinking like, why did he have
Yeah.
to die? But crazy freaking liberals or crazy
Yeah,
freaking
it's
liberals.
sad, bro. It's sad. It's something that still actually devastates me. And honestly, this whole thing with Turning Point and Candace Owens, that's something that's all I also find pretty sad because it's really fracturing the right in a bad way. And I don't like that. I didn't follow, you know, uh AM Fest super close. I saw that they had Cardi B there. I saw that Ben Shapiro gave this speech basically slamming Megan Kelly and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And, he's getting kind of railed for that. But I also think like you do have some bad actors on the right. I think Candace Owens is one of them that is, grifting hardcore off
Mhm.
of, wild conspiracies. And I'm not saying like, listen, if she had something where she had like really solid evidence, I would totally be open to it. I just don't think she does. And I think a lot of this is a grift right now. I think for a lot of people, covering it, even her covering it, and then the people covering her covering it, it's just people trying to make money. It just feels icky to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people don't truly get with how the optics look about all of this is like there's nothing wrong with asking questions, right?
Yeah.
That as a premise is
Yeah.
completely fine because you ask questions to get answers that you otherwise would not have got the answers to. The problem is it I would phrase it like this. Do people genuinely think she's doing it because she actually cared about Charlie Kirk? That
Yeah.
would be the whole premise of it, right?
Yeah.
Because the benefit of covering this the way that she's did it would give you and have you get a lot of access to a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
Now, so some would say she had a lot of money for being a part of Daily Wire and the things that she did in the past. True, right?
She's
But
rich. She
yeah,
doesn't honestly, she's a person where I don't think she is doing it for the money at all, actually.
yeah, she wouldn't
Because
need to.
her husband is ultra wealthy. I mean, he is, multi-millionaire, very, very, very wealthy. So she doesn't need money.
Yeah.
But I do think her currency is attention. She likes attention. That's something
I
that
think
she
that's what it
thrives on.
really is. She
Yeah.
likes the attention it brings her because, she like with a lot of women, they just thrive on attention, right?
Mhm.
They just kind of do. Like, could you imagine a world that's a regular cuz regular girls go through this too now where it's like the average looking girl will get like 30 dudes in their DMs saying they're beautiful, they love them.
Yep.
Now guys, imagine that on her level where like millions of plus people are watching your stuff saying they love what you're doing, we love you this much and you're the best this and you're the best that and you're all this that and the third, that inflates someone's ego. And keep in mind she was already successful in a certain way after she got fired from the Daily Wire anyway. How much
Yeah.
money they paid her and how much money they probably paid to end her contract, because people don't know about contracts is where like you can keep someone on or you could just pay them out the rest of it. Her contract was probably worth a lot of money, so they probably just paid her how much money her contract was worth just to terminate it, and that itself probably gave her a lot of money. The thing that a lot of poor people don't get is people are going to go, well, if she's already that wealthy, why would you need more money? That's the thing that keeps you poor.
Yeah.
And this is the key that a lot of lesser fortunate people don't get. The thing that you're asking is why would someone ultra rich want more money? Really, really think about that for a second. Why would a super wealthy person want more money? More money gives you access to more things and gets you the ability to do more things, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's certain things going on in her life that she needs more money that she needs to put in and invest to. Could be anything. I'm not saying malicious. It could be
Yeah.
like, I don't know, children's future. It could
Yeah.
be, I want a new plane, anything. It could be literally anything, guys. Because things, even if you're that wealthy, keep in mind, these things cost a lot of money. Imagine the
Yeah.
lifestyle she has with her husband cost a lot of money. Well, if she wants to guarantee they have enough money for a long time, even with all the money they have, because she's not stupid. You need a backup plan.
Yep.
This is their backup plan. And then when this backup plan gets them all the money that they need, she's going to stop. Eventually she will. When it gets her the money that she needs for whatever she's using the money for, she'll stop. But this is why I think a lot of people stay in that mindset. They ask stupid questions like that. Why would a rich person want more money? Why not? It's more
Yep.
money.
Hold that thought. I just gotta go get my door real quick. Give me a second.
Yeah, you're good. I'll just answer Eric really quickly. MSK would like Cinderella. Me? Huh? I don't know. I'm definitely a fan of the classics, actually. Blonde snow bunnies, his weakness, alongside with soap and a healthy relationship with a woman. Well, that's the big problem right there, buddy. You can't really have healthy relationships with women. They're just absurdly disgusting. But I do love me some blonde snow bunnies. I do love those. Soap, I do love soap. Soap is awesome. I'm freaking heck. I like that Caress bar soap. What is it called? Caress bar soap. I'm pretty sure it's still a thing. Yeah, I like the Caress bar soap where it says like zest on it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I like that soap. I like that one a lot. Oh, this is there. Oh, WT's giving me an L. Huh? What the frick? MSK, open the damn gifts. I don't have any gifts. What the heck? You didn't give me anything, you bastard. Walter just gave me a dino dance. Oh my goodness, I hate Twitch.
Nice.
But yeah, like the thing that tripped me with Candace is she folded the moment she went and talked to Erica Kirk. That's why I know it's phony.
Yeah.
Like, or she does believe what she truly thinks, and she's a freaking lunatic. But she kind of knows that there's really no, I don't know, evidence there in those conspiracy theories. Because remember when after she came back for talking to Erica, her tune was a little changed.
Yeah.
See? Yes, because that's when someone has no principles or convictions at
Yeah.
all. Because remember, the day before, she said any place, anytime, anywhere. They gave her a place and time where she can't do it. Erica Kirk, privately, she says on Twitter, "Hey, we're gonna talk about this." Miraculously, Candace made it happen.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it happen the other time? To
Yeah.
my point, her goal is to have access to Erica Kirk. That's the
Yeah.
goal. It wasn't the fact that she could never do that any place, anytime, even though she was just clearly trash talking. There was truth in that trash talk. She wanted access to talk to Erica Kirk. That's what
Yeah.
she really wanted in the end. She wanted a bridge that could be brought up with their conversation, where at the end of the conversation, she goes, "Hey, you got my number. I got your number. Let's keep in contact." That's what she wanted. Has nothing to do with anything else, Because if she can make that happen out of the fly, just going to meet Erica Kirk in some random hotel room surrounded by
It
security
was
guards,
5 hours too, man. A 5-hour conversation, which is,
yeah,
that
that's what
she
she wanted. Yeah.
yeah, and she wasn't willing to actually do it with Turning Point when they invited her to come on her. I'm like, well,
And she made it
that's
happen on the
that,
day of, remember?
yeah,
She
I know. It's same day she was able to make it happen. So, it made me realize like, oh yeah, yeah, you're full of it.
What did you
You're
think
just not
about
being
what
honest.
what, what happened with AmFest 2025? Because I think if people are gonna ask me, because some people ask me a lot about this on Twitter too, and here on the show, I think personally that the event should not be used for people to air out their petty grievances with each other. And I
Yeah.
know Charlie would not like that. It's crazy how people say they know Charlie, and I would say I knew the guy from all the stuff I all the content I consumed of his. He would not like his event that he organized, he put together with his own business for people to come on stage and air out their petty grievances. I
Yeah.
know he wouldn't like that, and it's silly to pretend that he would be okay with that. Ben
Yeah.
Shapiro going on stage, saying the things he did, even Tucker Carlson, even if you like Tucker Carlson, doing all of that with Megyn Kelly, all these people that did that, you should truly feel ashamed of yourself using that time you had on stage to air out dirty laundry with people like that. I
Yeah.
don't get the
I don't think it was appropriate either. I thought it was a huge miss.
right. It was so distasteful. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, like the thing is, people don't understand optics matter, and what that shows people is that conservatives in this space, they just can't control themselves. They always got to make it about them because that's what it looks like. They use that time to make it all about them instead of the overall broader movement, right?
Yeah. And I think too, like when it comes to Ben Shapiro, even strategically, it's not a good play because now you're just giving Candace more content to make. Like that's her currency. That's what she feeds off of, and you've handed her something on a silver platter because now she's going to make a response video to what you said and drive more content and more viewers to her. I think it's better just to speak broadly, generally, and and maybe a different time when, at one of your speeches, your political events, you do it.
Yeah. If that's your own event, you do that. It's your own event, But I think if you're invited there to talk about, the conservative movement and what the future looks like after Charlie Kirk, this is like 3 months after he passed away. He only died like 3 months ago, which is freaking insane to think about. It's not been that long since he
Yeah.
was assassinated in front of people. I think whether you like any of those people, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, or Tucker Carlson, I personally feel like using that time they had on stage to air out all these petty grievances is stupid,
Yeah.
silly, and I know Charlie Kirk wouldn't have liked that. And it's
No.
silly to pretend otherwise. Yes, Charlie Kirk would allow the biggest conservative event of the year that people book flights for. It's like an actual event. People go out
Dude,
there, talk,
30,000 people, I think, were there in attendance. That's
yeah,
insane. That's insane.
and it went up because the years before he passed away, it was steadily growing, but this was the biggest year.
Yeah.
Obviously, that has probably something to do with him passing away, but it shows that the movement that he built is growing, and I think that's just not the right time frame for
Yeah.
these things to happen. Like Ben Shapiro literally started off his speech talking about Nick Fuentes. Yes, because that's what Nick Fuentes wants, is you to talk about him and give
Yep.
time to his opinions. Even if you like him or dislike him, that's what Nick wants. That's just
Yeah.
all he asked for. Like, god damn, like talk about living rent free. And for people like Ben Shapiro that say they value free speech, well, you say you're all about this, and the third. Go debate him then. Because
Yeah.
he said Charlie Kirk wouldn't do it. Charlie Kirk could do whatever he wants. that we're talking about, like, because people say that Charlie Kirk would have debated Nick. Well, yeah, he wasn't, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. What?
Yeah.
Because he talks about Tucker Carlson not pressing Nick Fuentes in their conversation. Well, you bring him on your show and you press him. Then why
Yeah.
can't you do it? That's such a coward thing.
It
Oh,
is cowardly to me.
I would have pressed him if I was there. You can invite him.
And I
He will
do
come
think
to you.
actually the ironic thing about Ben Shapiro, and I like Ben, you know, and I generally I think he's done a lot of good for the conservative movement, but
Yeah, at one
I
point
do
was the guy. Yeah.
I do think Nick is a monster of his own creation. Actually, you know, he made Nick by being unwilling to get into the arena with him. You know, you're talking about Shapiro's the guy that talks about beating, you know, bad ideas with good ideas. Well, if you have the good ideas, Ben, and Nick has the bad ideas, do the debate, bro, and
Mhm.
prove it. Go to the battlefield, you know, and if you're not willing to do that, shut up, bro. Just shut up. You know, I think, yeah, I do think it's cowardly, and I think,
Yeah.
you know, if you're going to criticize these bad ideas, then you have to be willing to get into the arena.
Also, I think the other thing that he criticized, which is what he talked about in the speech, was the whole Tucker Carlson Nick Fuentes debate. I will say this: a lot of people don't do this, and I know based on how they talk, when they're doing one-on-ones like this on podcasts or they have panel shows, there's another angle someone to doing a podcast, which is there's two angles. One is you ask them the hard questions and they answer, or they kind of cower away. Then you can kind of tell what from their actions how they may feel about answering it. Oh, but no one ever goes over the second one, which is the saying when I was growing up. If you let someone talk, they'll reveal themselves.
Yep.
Tucker Carlson, yes, you could say didn't press him on anything, but Nick gave him all the juicy stuff without pressing him. Nick
Yeah.
quite literally, who knows if he was being sarcastic or saying it for views and clicks or to enrich himself, based off all those narratives I just said, minus that, he said he openly admires Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson didn't have to press him for that. He just willingly said that. Keep in mind, I get people are angry at the interview, but Tucker Carlson did something very good that a lot of people that only will do this know. When you let, well, it's a saying we had growing up. When you let someone talk, they reveal themselves, kind of thing. He let Nick reveal who he was.
Yep.
I don't understand what's the problem with the interview when Nick is literally telling him who he is. You know?
Yeah. And I just think at this point in the game, it's just too late, man. It's like he has the attention, or he has the platform. Like, you can either rise to the occasion and challenge him, or get out of the way, man, because it's just he's not going anywhere. He's here. He's mainstream now. He's not going anywhere. Your best efforts failed, and it's time to actually debate him or shut up, man. That's just really that simple.
And it's so cowardly to say, "Oh, well, this guy didn't press him, and he didn't ask him the hard-hitting questions." Well, you do know, Ben, you could invite him on your platform and do it yourself. All these people criticizing Tucker Carlson's interview with him, you all know that he'll come on your show. He went on Steven Crowder's after that. He went on Piers Morgan.
I thought Piers Morgan did a good job on his show, actually.
Piers Morgan did a better job of overall getting the hard-hitting questions way across. But I would say just because Piers Morgan did it that way, that doesn't mean that Tucker's approach was wrong. You know?
Everybody has different approaches.
Yeah, I hate people like that. Even though they have the access to talk to this person, they could get him on. The thing is, maybe you just go, Ben, are you scared of talking to this guy? You know, because he called me an evil troll. He called me an evil troll, which he probably is right. But if he's an evil troll, you could talk to him and just destroy him then. By that logic you just gave me. It's like, come on. It's just, I think he's doing the same thing that Candace Owens is doing. He just doesn't realize it. He's doing the optics thing of saying what kind of sounds nice, but the backup of it is just not there. But I'll ask you a few more things before we head out, because I need to have to head out very soon.
Yep.
First thing is, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Nothing in particular. I know that once the new year hits, I'll be kind of hitting it, you know, into high gear with production. So I'll be kind of tweaking this room too and making it a better space. I just moved my studio up here, so my wife will eventually have her own show too on my channel. So I do got some things in the work. Yeah,
she's
January, February.
She's working on having like her own, let's say, a solo podcast on.
Yeah, like more Bible based stuff. So that'll be cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be doing lots of shorts too, and nothing super crazy right now, but there is some stuff that I'm working on.
Hell yeah. Last thing I'll ask you, man, is do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular and anything else you want to say before we head out?
Um, yeah, I think Midnight in the Mountains is a really good follow, good guy, and I definitely encourage people to follow him. He dives into like conspiracy stuff, and he's just a really good guy. I appreciate him, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I thank you for the opportunity, man.
Yeah. Can't wait to have you on, next year for a second appearance at some point whenever you get the free time. But just
Yeah.
want to say to everyone, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the